Okay, here we have the Apollo Guru. I'm not sure what it's meant to be a guru of, and it certainly isn't mountain biking. This thing wallows like a duck when you try and ride it anywhere. In fact, you won't even go up a grade 6 hill with a 13 stone bloke on it, because the whole rear suspension just wobbles around, and you know, the geometry is absolutely horrible. And you're probably thinking, well, you can put the seat down a bit. There's a rivet that stops you putting the seat down any further than that. So your seat is always way up in the air. In fact, the seat, the saddle seat, whatever, is higher than the handlebars. So your weight is already too far forward. So this is an over the handlebars launching machine before you even get started on the rest of it. So what have we got in terms of specs then? People are probably wondering. Well, I'll start with the good part. We have Shimano shifters. We've got mint brake cable, you know, there. It's all fine, as you can clearly see. These are actually okay. The rest of it is just junk. We have a steel frame with some very cruddy nylon bushes. Even fully working though, it's horrendous. It comes with these one of these awful cranksets. I think this is a Pro wheel. There's no name on it at all, but I'm pretty sure it's a Pro wheel. And I used to have like basically when you see that, it's a Shimano derailleur, 7-speed, mega range, 34 tooth capable. Woohoo! But these are always kind of cheap. These are like worse than your modern Tawny derailleurs or anything like that, or your flat face. And these cranksets and the bottom bracket that accompanied them were, I've never seen one that didn't have play in it, put it that way, or make crunchy noises, it wasn't otherwise dead in some way. I mean, they were so cheap, they even went with steel, you know, brakes on here. These are made out of pressed steel. The front ones are so bad, they always used to bend when you applied the brake instead of actually stopping it. The wheels do have aluminium hubs, but that's about as far as it goes. In fact, the wheels are probably one of the more higher quality items on the bike. That means it made in Taiwan. Spoke tensions, it's not terrible. Obviously we've got to pull these off. Right, we'll do that later. There's the bottom bracket that I was talking about earlier. It has a D&M rear shock, which as you can see is leaking tremendous amounts of something. I'm not sure if these are oil filled or if these are simply just a spring damper, which means it's just a spring and nothing else. D&M, what model is it? Doesn't tell you. Just says D&M, nothing else on there. Yeah, pretty terrible shocks. Even the higher end ones are not great. The welding has lots of lovely undercut on there, you know, just bodgy welded that on there. This actually isn't that bad. This looks good, but there's undercut all the way here, so that's a fail. This actually looks pretty nice. It's like, you know, they tried to weld it, but then realised what they were welding was a total waste of time, and the filler wire they were welding it with was worth more than it. Geometry on this thing is absolutely horrible. It just does not feel stable or safe in any way. It feels like trying to ride a bike after about 2 bottles of Jack Daniels on a trampoline. Don't ask how I know that one. Anyway, that concludes this video on this awful Apollo Guru. Full suspension.